Hello. So this is the second video for the Copperplate Majuscules. My name is Holly and we're going to do a bee today. My X height, same as last video, is 5mm, so my Majuscules are going to be 15mm. I'm using a oblique pen holder with a Leonard Principle EF nib inside, doused in some black watercolour ink, which is very fast drying and is cheap and cheerful, so it's great for practice. So you won't get the finest hairlines, but it is easy to get this ink in quite large quantities, so it's all right for practice. All right, so right on here you can see my my guidelines right here. I'm going to start with a universal line of beauty. So same as before, universal lines of beauty should start parallel to the top and end parallel to the bottom. So at the top, there we go, the line should be able to continue that way, and at the bottom the line should be able to continue on that way. So we should end up at that point, and the middle, roughly the third, mine's a little bit longer, but roughly the middle third should be parallel to that slant line. All right, I haven't been having great luck with my bees today. I've had to shoot this video a few times just because I haven't really liked where it's been going, but never mind. So I am going to do an oval to fill that space, and I'm going to continue it on up and over. Right, so we have a bee. I haven't actually filled that space so great, so we may nip into something to fill that in. All right, so in a bee, let me just clean this off really quickly, otherwise it'll gum my nib up. There we go. All right, so in a bee, you have obviously the universal line of beauty. I'm just going to call it that for now. So like I said, the middle third should be parallel to the slant line. So the overall flow of our letter is on this slant line right here. You can see that the other side of my B is not. I've seen some guides where they insist that both sides of the B must be on the slant line, which would mean you're trying to create. Am I still in frame? I am still in frame. There we go. I'm trying to create something that I find quite hard to do. So if I try to do this in monoline, it would mean that therefore I couldn't. I'm trying to keep this line. I'm finding it very difficult. It would mean that the right hand side of my slant line could only go as far over as my universal line of beauty is, and I find that incredibly hard to balance. I've seen some ductuses that do say to keep both sides on that line. However, for me, I found that when I'm looking at it in terms of ovals and analysis, that as long as I have ovals contained within, I mean, this isn't a great example right here, but as long as I've got an oval contained in here, I've got an oval that is on the slant line from right here. So I've got an oval sort of right there, and I've got an oval right here contained, then my bee is gonna look all right. There are a lot of ovals going on with a bee. You've also got ones from your line of universal beauty. So there is a lot going on. So if I say right here, can I take, I can take that down there, there we go. It's hard to see in frame when you're focusing so hard on the paper. Right, okay, so if we go right hand side of the bee, must contain here just for safe measure. It must contain ovals. Along the slant line. I don't think that they need to line up necessarily for me. I think that's going to be a point of contention, but you know, back in the day when Copperplate was all over the place, it was all about whose hand you liked. There was a lot of variation, and that's what's made it so hard for it to sort of gain its place in the hallowed halls of calligraphy, because there is so much variation. It's hard to tell what's really in the rules and what's not. All right, then we have the I should know the technical term for this, but the bit where the two ovals meet in the center, this should be, move that down a little bit right there, I think I can still see that there, perfect. So this, if I call it the waistband, I'm assuming someone will correct me on the technical term, but if we call it the waistband for now, so the waistband of the bee, I think I'm still in frame there, we go, should be at midpoint. So that means that out of my 3 squares high that I've got, my midpoint is right in the middle here, as close as I can eyeball it. So that's what's going to make your bee look more balanced overall. Even though the bottom circle is much larger, it's not going to look like that top circle is insignificant. Okay, we also have to talk about the left hand side. I'll do a further example for that. I'll just nip down here a second. So if I go just using monoline really quickly, I do find it so much easier in monoline. I don't know what happens, but as soon as the camera gets on me, it takes me like 5 tries to do anything. Cool. Right. So on the left hand side, you'll see I've got the contained oval over here, which I mentioned earlier, but I also have the space on the left as a whole. I've tried to bisect as much as possible, so that means I divide in half using the lines that I've got. So obviously, as an oval, like a contained space going this way, so if I thought of this whole space as an oval, I've tried my best to divide it using how far down this this little flourish goes on the left. And I've also tried to bisect this space using the tail end of this flourish. So it looks overall quite pleasing. It should look overall quite balanced. Yeah, and it should contain your oval. So my oval here is still aiming to be on that slant line right here. Yeah, so if it's not, if you've got a different angle in here, then it's going to lean either too close towards the right hand side of your bee or too far away, and it's going to look like it's off kilter. It's going to potentially make your bee look like it's off kilter when it may not be. Okay, then have I got everything in frame there? No, I have not. I think I need to zoom out a tiny bit. There we go. So I think that's got everything. Alrighty. I think that's about right. You've got your ovals on the right hand side, obviously with their thick and thinness. So when you are doing your oval, I've just switched to a brush part so I can show you. It should mean that the downstroke of your oval, which I've completely done correctly, don't know what you're talking about, the down part of your oval, the thickest part should be in the center of the oval, which is a lot harder to achieve with a brush, but you should be able to see that the thickest part of your shade or your downstroke is right in the center of both of these ovals, and it should be going in the same direction. If you do not apply even pressure, or if you change your wrist angle, then you are going to potentially have a difficult time. Yeah, so those shades should be roughly going in the same direction. Okay, so that, believe it or not, is the premise of a bee. If we talk about flourishes for the interim, because bees can be done 500 different ways, which is fantastic. If I just do this quickly in monoline, then we can have a go. I can fit it there. There we go. So my line view is Universal Beauty. I'm not going to put my terminus dot. Then I'm going to go from the top. If you are flourishing, sometimes you need to give yourself a little bit of a break in between forming your letter, so that you have options. Some people do it in pencil first and then flourish and then erase their pencil. Some people do it like this, where they do part of the letter and then flourish as needed. So from the bottom, instead of a terminus dot, we can take this up and complete a further oval on that far side. So I'm still trying to bisect the space. So this line right here, I've tried to put in the middle of this large oval. It would mean then that my top flourish can't just go wherever I want. That dictates some of the space. When you are flourishing, you want to try to cross your lines as much perpendicular as possible. So I haven't brought mine over enough, but that's all right. So if I'm taking this, I should have brought that further over. That would have been much nicer. I wonder if I can do that better. So this isn't bad, but it's not bisecting the space here. It's off kilter. It's also not hitting the halfway point of this. So I just want to redo that. No one's perfect, are they? There we go. Okay. There we go. That's better. Okay. So then you can see that I'm trying to bisect this space. I've tried to hit this at a perpendicular angle. Mixed results, I would say. But you can see the space here is an oval, completely contained. I've tried to half it this way. I've also tried to half it this way. Yeah, it's all about bisecting that space. The closer you can get to the true middle, the more aesthetically pleasing that is going to look. So B is actually quite a complicated letter. But as long as you can play about with your oval shapes and how they intersect, then that's going to make your flourishing a lot easier on this really complex letter. But in terms of construction, your B should follow these rules. Okay, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.